Hi all, I apologize for this getting to you so late. It's been a busy couple of days here at the schoolhouse. This is just a video for those of you who have missed curriculum night. I'm going to link this PowerPoint that I'm about to breeze through very quickly to you to the remind message so that you can have access to it and read it a little bit more in depth. But these are some of the things that we talked about Tuesday night if you missed us. So one of the things that we were hoping to mention to you guys is how you can help your children or child make the most of the remainder of their school year. We don't have a lot of time left, and for the most part, with the exception of social studies, the students will be having to take a state test in each of their subjects. So we do want to make sure they're successful, and not only that, we want to make sure they're successful in their transition from middle school to high school. Something that you can do as a parent is check PowerSchool daily and look for missing work. Teachers are pretty good at putting in work daily and keeping the grade books up to date. So if you will check that out so that we don't have to go hunting down missing work, that would be really, really appreciated. Some students do this already on their own, but if you know your student isn't one of those students, it might be a really good idea to check it out for yourself. Ask your students about their grades. How are they doing? If they're good, celebrate. Especially in science class, students work really hard on their tests for A's. It's not an easy class, so when they do earn an A, it is definitely something to celebrate about. And if the grades need improvement, talk with your student and the teacher about what needs to happen. So how can they study better, or maybe just talking about concepts that they might have to go over with their teachers again, maybe because they didn't understand. Logging into your student's PowerSchool, so there is a Google document that's linked here that walks you step by step how to log into PowerSchool with your student's password and ID if you need it, if PowerSchool is something that is new to you. We are seeing some trends in poor academic performance, so bad grades, and absenteeism. We want to really highlight that it is important that your student is at school and participating in the learning community as much as they can. We love it when our students are here at school. That's the best way to learn. We are trying to make up some gaps from the virtual learning that we have had to do for the past couple of years, and we think the best way is just to have the students in school. So if your student is someone who struggles with absenteeism or missing school, we would really love for them to be at school. We want to make sure that your students are awake. We have a lot of students who are sleeping during classes. They tell us that they play video games at night or they stay up late on their cell phones. We would love for your student to get about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Not everybody needs that, but the American Academy of Sleep Medicine has recommended that teenagers 13 to 18 years old should sleep about 8 to 10 hours per every 24 hours. I myself really like 8 hours of sleep. Students and probably the other staff can definitely tell when I don't get that. So your students' sleep is very important, just like my sleep is. But anyways, we want them to be awake and engaged and really participating in learning. When they're sleeping, they're not getting much of the lessons. So ways to help students get sleep: stick to a consistent sleep schedule. That's a big one. So go to bed at 9:30 every night or 10 o'clock every night and wake up at the same time. Limiting exposure to light and technology is very important in the evenings, especially as it gets darker. This is something that I know from my own self. You can limit, and I do it on my phone, and I'm a grown person, the app usage after a certain time, like at 7 o'clock. The only thing that comes through on my phone is calls from my parents and my sister, and texts, and that's it. And it doesn't buzz. It's on Do Not Disturb. And I can't get on any of my social media. I know myself. I sleep a lot better when at 7 o'clock I stop that and I do something like read. So this is definitely something that might help your child as well, whether it's their cell phone or TV or video games. And we've also got a link here. We've noticed that our students are really, really struggling in math lately. One of the reasons is it's just hard to learn math online. I always told my students last year, if you're going to go to one Zoom, I'd love it if you'd be at mine and my science Zoom, but really and truly that math Zoom is where you need to be. So this is definitely something we want to talk about. We want to help them bridge the gaps that we're seeing in their math knowledge. We want our students to take daily math notes. It's a critical need. If you ask your student for math notes and they don't produce it, they can't bring them out of their notebook or out of their book bag for you, or they're just scribbled down and it looks like chicken scratch, that's a red flag. If you can't read it, they probably can't read it. And if they don't have it, they probably didn't take notes, or they need to keep a binder or a folder with them all in place. That's definitely really important, just so that they can go over and study and practice and just walk through those steps that Mr. Ransom had walked through with them. And then we've got some more online resources for your child to utilize for additional practices if they want. Like I said, we are seeing struggling just across the board with math in our students. So here are some ways that maybe at home they can do a little bit of extra math practice. And then we want our students to build reading stamina, so to be able to read for a long period of time independently without being distracted and without distracting others, and being able to tell you what they have read. Some students have a natural curiosity for reading and a natural drive, others don't. It might be something where you ask your student to pick up a book maybe that you know that you like and you want them to read. We're trying to build that. Their reading stamina is actually going to help them in their other courses, which I'll come to in a second. So ways that you can help build this reading stamina is to take your child to the library to check out books, create a space for reading that is technology free, so it's not really good to read your Harry Potter book while you're watching the Harry Potter movie or playing video games. It just doesn't work that well. And then agreeing upon a length of time that you expect your student to read without interruptions, so maybe reading 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. But the goal should be for your student to be able to read uninterrupted for about 30 minutes a day, or just without any distractions. That's really going to help them on their reading EOG at the end of the year, or their ELA EOG at the end of the year, and help them be successful. So, like I said, it's also going to help impact in a positive way their reading stamina on their science, social studies, and math grades. One of the things that I'm seeing across the board with our science students, and I'm about to send home scores about on their benchmarks for you all to see, hopefully soon, by the end of the week I'm thinking. But one of the things that I am seeing is that students in science, they've got a really good idea of what's going on in science, and they can tell you with their words, but when they come up on a EOG question that is state made and it's worded really tricky with most likelies and least likelies, they don't quite get it, and they just really struggle with it. So being able to work on their ELA skills, I think, is going to be the best thing for your student to be successful in science, as well as our social studies and our math grades. And then I'm going to stop here. So after this, we go through slides of what we've learned and what we've done so far, and then for each of our subjects, like this is the science just for example, so we've done diseases, biotechnology, populations and ecosystem, evolution of land and life forms, hydrosphere, and we're on use of natural resources. We'll be done with that by the end of next week or early the following week, and then we'll move on, and science is a final exam, is state made, it's an EOG, so an end of grade test. But I'm going to let you read these on your own because I think there are other important things to talk about here. One of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about with you all is interventions. I don't know if you've heard the buzz with your students, or maybe we don't call them interventions, but just a remediation period that we have started to build into your student school day. We have been looking at the data for our math scores, and we are getting very concerned about our students in mathematics. Like I said, learning math online was not good. Wouldn't be good for anybody. I can remember back in high school, I was supposed to take a calculus class, and they didn't have anybody to teach me, so they tried to make me do it online with like an NC virtual public school. It did not. I lasted about a week, and it did not work. Just math is a very hard subject to learn online, regardless of who you are or who the teacher was. It's just hard. So we are seeing some gaps in retention and the things that the students should know by this point because of that online learning. So we are trying to do everything in our power to make sure that your student closes those gaps and to make sure that they're prepared for high school when they leave us. So we have built in an hour intervention period for both math. It's 30 minutes of math-ish, 30 minutes of reading-ish a day for your students. And we are really trying to help bring those scores where they should be, because we are concerned about them. If you have any more questions about intervention, I would be happy to answer them, or Ms. Blake, or Mr. Ransom, or even Mr. Connor. For the students who are taking Earth and Environmental Science, which is a small cohort of students, their interventions are going to look a little bit different, and I'll send out a video once we get everything worked out, or a letter home to you all, so you can see just how we plan it. It's going to look a little bit different. The intervention times for your students who are not in Earth and Environmental Science is 1:30 to about 2:30, so that's when our Earth class is. So those students are not participating in intervention at that time, so we're going to have to come up with a different solution to get them the help that they need. So that information is going to be coming to you a little bit later, as soon as we get all of the kinks ironed out and come up with a really good plan. But again, if you have any questions, please let us know. I'm going to link this PowerPoint so that you can see the rest, all the other subjects, and everything else that we have to talk about. I hope that you guys have a great day. I hope I didn't bore you too much, and I hope that you took the time to listen to this video. Just a couple of announcements while we're here. Today is Thursday. It was the last day to purchase beta goodies. Beta fundraiser distribution will be going on right here. And then coming up on the 26th of March, which is a Saturday, we're going to be having it's almost like a festival. I'm thinking in my head it's kind of like a craft fair, or just somewhere where you can set up a booth and you can sell some things to the people who come and buy some things. If you're interested in that, if you want to email Madison McLam, or I can help you and put you in touch with the right people. I hope you had a great day, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.